Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hi, I'm Kelly Lewis. I'm working for the Pennsylvania Gigabit Revolution. We're here in Pottstown today, the second meeting of our day already. We were in Doylestown, Pennsylvania earlier today, handing out technology action reports, giving a UFD update and an RFP update. We're really excited about our Pottstown project. We've been working with the borough. We've been working with a number of leaders around the county. We had 42 organizations participate in the RFP, which is outstanding. And we're very confident that some companies are going to come back with some very innovative solutions for the project. Today, we're going to hand out the technology action reports. We're going to have a UFD update. John's going to give an engineering update. He's going to knock your socks off with how expensive broadband is in Montgomery County. And we're going to come back and share some RFP results to try and address that challenge. First, I wanted to have Mayor Sharon come up and give a few brief remarks. Mayor Sharon.
Good afternoon, everybody. And as the mayor of Pottstown, I'm here to welcome you again a second time to the Gigabit Revolution as we proceed. I'm also here to congratulate you for submitting and completing your technology action plans as you receive your reports today. This marks a type of graduation as we proceed to the next steps in our journey together in Pennsylvania's Gigabit Revolution. We hope to become the flagship community. We hope to become the champions for this gigabit internet technology and its upgrades for high-speed internet right here in Montgomery County. We become better looking into the future with our creativity, with our innovation, and with unity within powerful collaborations as well as unique entrepreneurship. So as we move together, being a part of Pennsylvania's digital future, applaud yourselves today, and thankful for all the partners working behind the scenes to make this a reality. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. So let me dial back and bring us forward. United Fiber and Data is based in York, Pennsylvania. They're building a fiber system from New York City through Pennsylvania to Ashburn, Virginia. It creates an opportunity for Pennsylvania to try and optimize some opportunities in each county. The Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development has a program called BOAF, Broadband Outreach and Aggregation Fund, that was promulgated when we renewed the Bell Breakup Bill in 2004. That 10-year legislation sunsets June 30th, and we were fortunate enough to get the last grant from that fund to then go back into these 6 counties and try and figure out strategies and find partners to see, is anyone interested in an off-ramp from that fiber coming through from New York to Ashburn. Both New York, obviously, and Ashburn, Virginia, are the epicenters of broadband in the East Coast. Ashburn has data centers for Microsoft and Google. For school districts, that's very important because a lot of their traffic goes down to Ashburn. Presently, it wiggles its way to Philadelphia and then goes down through Baltimore down to Ashburn. This will be a straight hop, so the cost will be dramatically less. So we wanted to give an opportunity to do this project and partner with UFD to do our work. We did the outreach, trying to get you and organizations interested in the project. We did aggregation by asking you if you wanted to participate in an RFP. The RFP is totally voluntary. No one has a gun to your head. We're going to share results. If you're interested in walking forward and pursuing, we're going to assist and answer questions, but you'll then negotiate with the different RFP responses. We've done these for 12 years around the state, usually in very rural parts of Pennsylvania, and we achieved dramatic results. We leverage millions of dollars of investment on pennies. And we hope to do the same thing here from Bucks County, Montgomery County, Berks, Lancaster, York, and Adams County. So we're very pleased with the UFD investment. It's a major new investment of broadband in the state of Pennsylvania. And we let Bernadette, who's been running this project on the UFD side, give a quick update on UFD.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Kelly said, I'm Bernadette. I do community outreach for United Fiber and Data. Glad you could join us this afternoon. We were here in Pottstown, I believe, in December and spoke with Steve Bamford. He's not here today. I'd like to thank him, though, if he were here, because he really put a lot of people in the room at that time that would get the word out so that the community of Pottstown could realize how important this project is. And it's evident today by the number that we have in the room and the number of technology action plans that we have for Montgomery County. So welcome, Pottstown. I'm happy to share some accomplishments of our grant. We did some surveys. We were able to survey 600 respondents in the communities, and some of them are a little surprising, and some of them not surprising. But amongst respondents, 60% had no knowledge of what gigabit speed internet is, nor what the possibilities are when you have this type of infrastructure. So this is the 21st century, and this is such an important matter for all of the communities. And I'm not sure if the reason is we need to do some more outreach, but we're certainly on the right track by having digital inclusion and reaching out to the communities to teach them more about the ultra high-speed internet. And it is coming our way. And another finding in the 6 communities was that out of the 600 residents of the select cities, we asked 87% had internet access. So that tells us that there's 13%, and it's something that we take for granted, but there's 13% of those that are represented that do not have access. I'm not sure if that's homebound problems or rural problems, but it shows that we do have more work to do, and we're rolling our sleeves up, and we're doing that right now. And this is a map of the United States. These are the gigabit communities that are in the United States. And you can see from the map that the eastern part of Pennsylvania, the whole eastern seaboard, is absent of gigabit communities. So we really do have a great digital divide and a gap that we have to fill. And we're on our way to do that. Alaska even has a gigabit community. So our work leads us to some next steps. We've actually given you a handout if you had a chance to pick it up. If not, we'd like you to look at some of the resources in your community of those that you can call, because our next step is to really keep this conversation going. Talk to the people that are elected, your city officials, your state elected people, state representatives, your educators, your clients, your neighbors. This is how we get the conversation going for people to realize that this is something that we want. So as Kelly touched on, the fiber optic line is coming our way. It is well through New Jersey. We did realize a milestone, which was very exciting, on February 18th when we pulled through the Holland Tunnel, the Holland Crossing, under the Hudson River into New Jersey. So hopefully this summer we'll be celebrating the crossing of the Delaware River. This is a great quote by someone in Chattanooga, Tennessee, who realizes the impact of gigabit speed internet. The only thing moving faster than the internet is the rate at which people come together and share ideas and form a community. Nothing really glamorous about this picture, but there's our Corning fiber as we crossed the Hudson Tunnel, or the Hudson River at the Holland Crossing on February 28th. So the weather will be a lot nicer when we cross. I know when George Washington crossed the Delaware, it was Christmas night and it was cold, but it should be weather like today, and we shouldn't have to postpone anything like we did our first meeting in January in Pottstown. So I'm so glad we could be here. Another little side note, on part of our digital inclusion, we were able to partner with York College in York, Pennsylvania, and Martin Library, which is part of the York County Library System. We were able to try to bring some information to some girls that might not know what is available in the IT field, which is very underrepresented by females. So with that, I'd like to introduce Tracy Wilson Rossman from Tech Girls. Sorry, I thought that was the mic making that noise. But there's classes going on upstairs in the Hill School. So Tracy is the founder of Tech Girls, and she is from Philadelphia, Drexel, and I welcome her to give us an update and to give us some information on kind of what she does with her program. Thank you, Tracy.
Hi, good afternoon. So first we want to thank Gigabit Revolution for being a partner of ours and taking our programs out to York County. When we were first asked to speak, I'm like, we don't really discuss the digital revolution from like the house standpoint and from the actual fiber optic standpoint. How can we, help bring out the message? And we're actually part of digital inclusion from a different standpoint. So we understand digital inclusion is really important, and the digital divide is important to discuss from access standpoint, but also we have a different type of access that we discuss. So my day job is I work at a company that I helped found, which is a software development firm, where I work for the last 14 years with about 60 men. And there's only 4 of us, 4 women, who are in the company. So I founded Tech Girls because I was, I needed to talk about bags and accessories with other women, but no, seriously, I really wasn't understanding what was happening, why girls weren't part of the technical revolution. So I'm going to give you a little bit of an update and background about why we're doing what we're doing, and I'm going to try and do it as quickly as I can without my usual presentation notes. But so just a little bit, Tech Girls, we're a nonprofit. We are based in Philadelphia, but our work is being done nationally and internationally. Our mission is to have girls understand and embrace the power of technology for their future careers by teaching short, interactive, hands-on workshops that we call tech shops. Our tech shops cover the wide breadth of what tech can do these days: 3D printing, game design, Ruby and Python coding, Linux, mobile development, podcasting, and there's more. We have 30 lesson plans at this point. We don't teach them about tech. We don't tell them about tech. We show them what it is about, which is possibilities. Why is this important? The Department of Labor forecasts that by 2020, which at this point is becoming closer and closer, there will be 1.4 million new IT job openings in the U.S. So just 1.4 million. And that our universities are only expected to produce enough qualified graduates for 29% of these job openings, leaving 71% unfulfilled. That's about 1 million jobs. It's mind-boggling. And being in the IT field, I can tell you that we are feeling the pain more and more each day with unfilled jobs that actually affect our bottom line because we can't make profit. We believe that this number is actually not correct. We feel that it's actually larger because there's jobs that are tech-enabled that aren't really counted within that Labor Department statistic. Tech jobs are expected to be part of 80% of all jobs by 2018. So again, let's think about that number. 80% of jobs that are going to be out there are tech-enabled. So the tech industry is not utilizing a key segment of the workforce to help solve this current and growing issue. As of today, women make up 51% of the workforce and 57% of the bachelor's degrees earned. But if you saw a photo that I have of my company, as I said, most of the people in my company who are technology workers are men. Women account for just 12% of the computer science degrees earned and make up less than 25% of the IT workforce. And in the tech entrepreneurial space, which I also play in, it's even more discouraging, with 3% of new tech startups started by female founders. So, as I say, it doesn't take a rocket scientist or a computer genius to think that to fill this growing gap, women would be a great place to start. But we haven't really been understanding why women haven't been participating, because I've been in the industry for close to 16 years at this point, and it hasn't really changed that much. So what are we doing, and why are we keep repeating the same mistakes? At Tech Girls, when we started, we believed that at 9th grade there's a break, and that's why we start with middle school. One of the issues that I like to call is the Sheldon Cooper effect. And I don't know if any of you watched The Big Bang Theory, but if you've seen Sheldon Cooper and his friends in this show, you get the representation of what the media portrays. They're all male, they're all white, some of them are tall, some of them are skinny, and they all dress the same. And they like to play video games, and they have no social life, and I can tell you that that's really not the case. It's really hard to see yourself in a job if you can't see yourself in that job. And the other thing is that when most people hear about a job in tech, they have a misperception of what that job entails. Sitting behind a computer in an unlit room, staring at a monitor for hours, not having any contact with other human beings, without any creativity whatsoever. The reality, as I know it, is that a career in tech is very diverse. Jobs in tech today are evolving and are far bigger than just coding. Cybersecurity, analyzing data, video game design, working with e-textiles, digital media, and so much more that are on the horizon that we haven't even predicted yet. Another issue, as we see, is the lack of support that society gives women and girls around math and science, because we are telling these girls that they can't be good. There's a t-shirt that I saw over the last 18 months, and it says, "My brother does all my math homework." So basically, what is that saying to our girls? That they're not good at math, and not only that, we're influencing how they're seen by their peers, by their parents, and by their teachers. But even the girls that we see that are interested in middle school, that go on to high school, one of the largest issues we see is the shortage of computer classes and technology teachers at the high school level. The number of high schools offering introductory computer science courses dropped 17% from 2005 to 2009, and the number offering advanced placement computer science courses dropped 35% in that same time period. This piece of information is really important to discuss. We currently are of the belief that the issue of tech learning will not be solved at the school level. Even the better schools, like Hill School, are lacking the ability to teach tech because they don't have time during the day. And it's not only the issues of having the teachers know the material, but also having the time in the school to teach it. And remember, we still need to solve the issue of how we teach tech in schools to girls. Even if it's offered, if we teach in the same way we have been, we're still not going to inspire girls to want to continue. But we also believe that a 30-year decline of women entering tech fields, there's a marketing and messaging problem. We've not taken the time to understand what is interesting to girls as they make career decisions, and we're not taking the time to create programs or classes that are suited to reaching them at their level. So why as an industry do we fail to communicate the breadth and the possibility that technology can hold? We need to rethink how we present these possibilities for those to be involved in tech, and begin presenting them to girls and young women in a way that resonates with them as they're thinking about their careers. So with Tech Girls, what we've been doing is we feel that the best way to help was by starting earlier, before the girls had changed their minds. Before we started our program, we actually talked to the girls to find out what they wanted to learn and how we could connect to them. They were more interested in the creative side of technology and also how tech solved problems. We also found out that they wanted to play with technology and not be lectured. We found that just presenting technology as coding was coming up short, and we wanted to show them as many options as possible, that technology is about creativity and innovation. We thought there'd be curricula out there for us to use, and we kept coming up short. We had connections with the developers and technologists in the Philadelphia region, and that's helped us get around that issue. We've built most of our workshops and modified existing materials that are out there. And we're lucky enough to have a dedicated group of volunteers, men and women from the Philadelphia tech community and now from beyond, who are willing to create and teach these workshops. And while they're teaching, they're also giving the added bonus of being role models for our participants. We call these workshops tech shops, and we've taught them for 2 years in our existence. We've been in existence this is our 5th year. But we knew that to scale, that we could not continue the way that we were going. We did not want to hire instructors. The cost of maintaining the infrastructure would be too great. Plus, with so many people in the IT industry, it provided us the opportunity for a lot of potential instructors. So we decided to package our tech shops in a virtual box that we call Tech Shops in a Box, which is what GIGABIT Revolution taught for us. And we've known that many people want to help, but we've lacked the materials and also a manual, and we provided both. So we experimented for a year, we worked out the kinks. And over the last year, And we predict by the end of June, we'll have taught more than 4,000 girls all over the country and also internationally, which is pretty amazing. But we also know that it means nothing if we're not effective in what we're teaching. At this point, we know that 76% of the girls who have gone through at least one of our classes have changed their minds about technology, and we also get a 90% approval rating. And better yet, our volunteers are coming back and they're teaching not just the first class, but the second class and the third class. We believe that we're starting our own revolution here, right in Philadelphia. So we know that if we design a program that listens to girls and what is holding them back from being part of the tech economy, we can actually move forward. So thanks for your time. I appreciate you listening to me.
Thank you so much, and we'll share Tech Girls information with all of our guests and also throughout the rest of our program with the Gigabit Revolution. I just wanted to echo one thing that has become so apparent in our project. We thought we'd see job postings across the 6-county region. It's at least 600 open jobs between the 200 companies, at least, because a lot of organizations post on LinkedIn or other sites that are too hard to track down in the limited time that we had. So at least 600 jobs. Of those 600 jobs, about 150 to 175 are technology jobs. And there is very little unemployment in the technology world. If you're a technologist, you're working right now. There's nobody waiting on the bench for technology jobs. We absolutely need women to be interested in technology, and we need to do more in our schools. In 8th grade and 7th grade is the perfect time to be talking to girls and the guys. The tech industry is starving for a workforce right now, and as the economy improves, it's going to just become more profound. Before the recession, just in the Harrisburg market alone, there were 1,000 open jobs in the technology sector when I ran the trade group for the tech industry. 1,000 just in Harrisburg. And that 1,000 would trigger more jobs, tech-enabled jobs, because a lot of them were project manager positions that once the project manager was hired, there would be an additional technology staff underneath that project manager. So kudos for starting that. It's very important to our state to get ahead of the curve on Tech Girls, so we look forward to helping you. John Dolmich, Big Wireless. If you could give us an update on all the different things coming forward, and let me set the table. We have an RFP out on the street with 204 organizations in a 6-county region. It's one of the biggest RFPs that I've ever heard of. It matches the one that Delaker Strategies did in New Jersey for all the school districts that they just completed in the past 6 months. So John, could you give us an update on your side?
Sure, thanks, Kelly. Okay. Thanks, Kelly. So when we talked to you folks a few months ago, we told you that basically what we were going to do from an engineering perspective, and Kelly talked about the dots. The more dots we get, more people that say they want to be a dot, the more effective our engineering effort is going to be, and the more effective, an aggregation project is going to be, because the more organizations that voice their opinion and say they want higher speed, and the more that participate, basically bring down the overall cost to everybody, but more importantly, it gets carriers interested. Okay, if 2 people say they want something out of 1,000, nobody's going to pay attention. Nobody's going to develop a product. If 800 people out of 1,000 say they want that product, somebody's going to develop that product. So what we did to try to take some mystery out of this whole thing was we took all the technology action plan respondents, which I will tell you, Montgomery County had the second largest of all the respondents. York County was the only one that had greater. And then what we did is we said, okay, well, we now have all these dots, but we also know of companies that did not ask for technology action plans that we know that they need higher speed broadband, or that they need high speed broadband at a better price. So what we did, where's the little menu? What we did is we ended up with a total of over 500 organizations that we analyzed. As Kelly said, we only had 204 people who requested technology action plans. We basically more than doubled that number in the organizations that we were looking at to say if somebody wanted to build high-speed broadband, how would they do it? Who would it pass by? And how do we create the most effective route so we can actually have these people who respond to the RFP, they don't even have to figure it out. Okay, so what we did is we basically looked at existing aerial infrastructure, which is there and is used by current telecommunication providers, Verizon's, Comcast's, you know, all those guys that are out there. It's usable today. We don't have to set new poles. And we said, okay, how can we create the most effective route to get to all these dots? We have all those dots on there. There's over 500 of them. Actually, I think we ended up with about 700. And these are just organizations. We had a discussion in Bucks County. We only know of the primary organization. Bucks County government, just like Montgomery County government, has tons of buildings. We looked at one. We said we know of an organization that is interested. We don't have time to go find out where all their police buildings are and all that other stuff. But we know the core broadband users. And we ended up creating 1,200 plus aerial miles of fiber built. So if somebody wanted to connect all these organizations and provide high-speed connectivity, we did the plan for them. Included in each technology action plan that companies requested, there's a lot more detail on just how that organization gets connected. Who are their closest 7 neighbors? Where's the closest pole that could bring fiber into them? So that was the whole purpose of this exercise. So what we came up with for Montgomery County, and we have a little outline of the county here, and actually on this one you can see the blue line, which is basically the proposed UFD fiber coming down through, is we ended up identifying 85 organizations. 42 of those were TAP requesters. We went and identified the other people, because as we go from TAP organization A to TAP organization B, we're passing by people. And what we did is we identified the very large potential organizations that could use that and created a route. In total, it's 130 aerial fiber miles to cover what we've identified in the county. What's really interesting about all the ones that we've done is there's pockets of very heavy concentrations. And when there's a heavy concentration of potential organizations, it becomes more cost effective to build infrastructure to be able to reach those organizations. So what we did is we analyzed Central Montgomery. If you remember, I said 85 organizations. Just Central Montgomery County, okay, comprises 40 of those organizations. Almost half of those in 75 aerial fiber miles. And I want you to kind of pay attention to the numbers, because here, half the organizations, it's about half the amount of fiber that would be required to do the whole county from what we've identified. So in this case, it's almost 50% of both those numbers. And you'll see the pink and purple lines there. We know there's other organizations along those routes. You guys know them better than we do. My gut feel is we could probably quadruple the amount of dots that would want this if somebody had local knowledge of what's there and or what's going to be built. In the northern Montgomery area, we basically have almost the rest of the organizations that requested TAPs and or we identified, which is 45 organizations and 55 aerial miles. So now we're up to about 90% of both the organizations and aerial fiber miles, both heavy concentrations. What's interesting about the Pottstown area is, again, we have 10 organizations, a lot of people that requested technology action plans, a lot of people that are interested in affordable high-speed broadband. And out of those 10 organizations, it requires approximately, and these are all approximate numbers, okay? I mean, we did do the measurements, you know, on our GIS software. So out of those 10 organizations, 8 aerial fiber miles. So what we then did, again, it's provided in the technology action plans, is we went through area by area and figured out these are pretty much industry standard costs on a per mile of fiber, aerial fiber, which new construction is about $30,000, not including equipment. This is just the cost to construct the fiber. And $15,000 per aerial mile when it's overlashed, which means somebody's got existing infrastructure there. It basically just attaches to that. And what we provided was, we divided each one of those areas that we had. I gave you the aerial fiber miles and the number of organizations, and calculated what it would cost to do each area per organization. And if you look at the Pottstown area, for example, if we just do the overlash here, okay, we're saying, okay, if I wanted to build a fiber infrastructure in Pottstown, just to reach those 10 organizations, if it was new construction, it would cost me about $22,000, $23,000 an organization to build fiber to all 10 of those organizations. The question is, that's a one-time cost to build that fiber. And when you lay the numbers out this way, it's actually pretty staggering, because we'll have 10 organizations or a government organization in a city like Pottstown. That number, if you do the new construction, give or take, is about $220,000. They'll spend $220,000 on parks, but won't go ahead and build their own fiber infrastructure. It's not just not for 1 gig, 10 gig, 100 gig, glass is glass. So we've provided all those numbers, both on a county basis, and then each community, so Pottstown was basically selected as a community. So we basically carved out the community area, and then provided what the total county cost would be across all those organizations. So 130 aerial miles divided by 85 organizations. And again, Kelly agrees with me. I think there's 4 times that many organizations. I don't think it's 85. I think it's probably close to 400 that will participate, and they're probably already along those corridor routes that we showed on the fiber. So basically, you know, and this information is going to go to the DCED in a lot more detail and a lot more maps, that basically any carrier can say, hey, you know what, somebody already did all the legwork for me. I know the aerial's there. I know all these businesses and organizations are interested in getting high-speed broadband. Somebody just laid out a plan for me to build. And it's going to be up to them or a community or a county to go ahead and decide how that infrastructure gets deployed. What's really interesting is when we started diving into this, and I was a little upset about the fact that, you know, everybody that requested technology action plans, we basically solicited them and said, tell us what your broadband connection is for internet and tell us what you're paying a month. We probably only had about 20% of the organizations respond. And as Kelly knows, the cost of comparing broadband costs, go ahead and do your own research and see if you can find what people are paying. It's not published. Nobody wants you to know. John Smith doesn't know what John Doe is paying. And it's a real travesty, because Montgomery, we only got like 4 responses out of Montgomery County that said what they were paying. And we hide all the company names. I will tell you, you know, the ones in Montgomery, one of them was as high as a gig internet speed. One of them was 300 meg. We had one, I think, is 100, and one was 50. And you can see on a per megabit cost what the organizations in Montgomery County are paying. And this is not just Montgomery County. It's every county we analyzed. York was worse. York was far worse. And we're talking about organizations that are buying, one organization was buying 300 meg of service, and they were paying $18 a meg. If you look at this over here, and these are all gigabit cities, some of them are gigabit cities, some of them are not. What we did is we provided what other cities are paying. Okay, so when you look at the Montgomery side, look at the cost per megabyte. Look at Chattanooga, 7 cents. 7 cents per megabyte. That's why they attract technology businesses there, because they're, just like their power is cheap, their internet is way cheaper than everybody else. And if you look at some of these other cities, even Mexico City, Mexico, compared to what some of these cities are paying, you know, for broadband. And you look at that and it's not real staggering. What happens if you're paying those costs for a gig? Over here at the high end, be over $100,000 a year. $100,000 a year for gig internet at some of these rates. If you take Chattanooga, Tennessee, $870 a year. So $100,000 versus, you know, $870 a year. So that's why this is really important. Like I said, there's more detail in each company's technology action plan. And we're going to continue our work of, you know, we requested in the last meeting, we're still open for more dots. Okay, we don't need surveys, we don't need anything else. We just need potential businesses and organizations that, especially along the lines that we've already drawn, that may be interested. Because the more organizations it is, the more cost effective it is. So that's pretty much what I have. Thanks, Kelly.
So 14 years ago, we started to legislate in the House, and I was a member of the House, on how to start going against these numbers, because it was much higher 12 years ago, and you couldn't, it was very hard to get a gigabit back then. It was very hard to find a buyer for that, because there weren't a lot of technology uses that were using that much data. We legislated, I think it was $60 million for the broadband K through 12 initiative, and our intermediate units in Pennsylvania are the strongest in the country. We've really developed some leadership in K through 12 broadband, and to the people in the room, thank you. You've been really ahead of the game, helping us prove this out. In most counties, the lowest cost per megabit is through the intermediate unit, by far. And it's private industry that we've had trouble getting to the table in this project. They're the ones that are usually paying a little bit higher. They're sometimes stubborn and they don't want to go out into an aggregation project. They certainly have some security issues for sure, but they can get a part of these projects. And we really hope that some more companies come forward, and we hope that everyone in the room here becomes a cheerleader for the project, because this is what Chattanooga is going to do to us the next 10 years. We got to get our game on in this state. That's what the gigabit revolution is about. It's not about whether you can get a gigabit or not. Every county, you can buy a gigabit. The question is, what are you going to pay for it? And can you only get it in the center of a town? Can you get it where companies and schools actually are? Some of the build-outs here for the schools in Montgomery County were difficult to do. Does anybody know what I'm saying? I mean, we did some very extraordinary things around the state. It's a fairly rural state, and some of the broadband out to schools was extraordinary build-out by companies that really put an effort in to make it all work. Now we got to come back. That was 10 years ago when that started. And we got to light the fire again to lower the cost per gigabit in this state so that our young people stay. That's why this sign is up front. The young people are going to go where the jobs are. And our state's already struggling behind the curve, and we need to get ahead of the game and get gigabit speeds and gigabit prices down to the rest of the nation. I mean, we're getting kicked. There's things we're going to show you over the next month. We're coming back on May 16th. We're coming back on June 20th. Mayor, thank you very much for your leadership in helping us get these rolled out. But we can't stop in a meeting or two. We have to have monthly meetings and bring things together to pull people into the project. We got to cheerlead private investment like UFD and cheerlead it. They're going out of their way to invest in our state. You'd think that they're bringing the plague and some of the hurdles that they've faced. Am I right? Sure. But they want to invest in our state, and we need to encourage it. The other broadband companies, some in the room, we got to encourage them to come invest in our state. Or they'll go somewhere else. And by the map, it's clear they're going somewhere else. One company doing business in the state is Gigabit Fiber to the home and business in 17 states, but not in Pennsylvania, not in New Jersey, not in Maryland. Even though they have fiber there, they don't have Gigabit Fiber to the home or premises or to the business. So this is, can you see how small this is? Does everybody know the difference between $870 a year and $100,000 a year? But that's the difference that one company is paying here in Montgomery County. And that's a small sampling. We believe that the average in Montgomery County is right around here. About $50,000 more a year on the national average on the larger companies in Montgomery County. And our project is designed to try and help bring that cost per megabit down. Now we're going to hand out technology action plans, and inside you're going to read a little bit more about the RFP. The RFP has 204 organizations in it. We solicited out to, I think, 100 broadband providers, and so far, I think 24. We're up to 24 companies that have sought the RFP. I've been doing RFPs like this for 12 years. We've never had so many responses. We usually get around 10, maybe 12. So we're very enthusiastic on what could happen in this RFP. The results come back April 29th. We're going to quickly compile those results and come back out in the May and June meetings and share the results with companies. Companies and organizations will voluntarily decide if they want to move forward or not. If they want to move forward, great. If they don't want to move forward, that's great. They can say no, they can say not at this time, they can say yes. We'll help facilitate meetings with the broadband providers, but the broadband providers are free to communicate with every company. We don't have any stick. We're not pointing a gun to anybody's head. We're trying to get people to work together to lower the cost per megabit in Montgomery County and 6 other counties, and soon in other counties in the state. So we're very excited about the RFP. The Technology Action Plan is part of the solution. It just is a little bit of information for your organization, and it's designed to keep you at the table, hopefully. So come back in May and get the RFP results. So I wanted to start going through some of these, and Bernadette's going to help me hang them out, and Mayor, could you help us hand some out? And we don't know all the different organizations in the, who do we have first?
Okay. A. Jackson Ecker.
A. Jackson? Well, I know we got Pottstown School District here,
We do. Okay.
so I don't know if you can find, I don't know how we're,
Addison Tech.
what's that?
Addison Tech.
I know we have Addison Tech, all right. You can come on down. That and a buck, and we'll buy you a cup of coffee too.
Okay. Hello.
Hi, congratulations.
Well, thanks so much. John and Jennifer, can you come up and help a second? So we're not here all day. I know some folks have busy schedules.
Pottstown Business Incubator.
Anyone Pottstown Business Incubator? Come on down.
Can you answer a question while you're waiting patiently? Sure.
Sure thing. How about a question while we're getting this set up?
Does this tie in at all with, say, Comcast or Verizon?
Yes, sir. We fully expect Verizon and Comcast to be participating in the project.
And if they choose to do so, do they get the residential areas, do they have to overlash or unmove lanes? How does that?
Every company has a different situation in every single street in every municipality, so it's hard to say how they'll come at it. But they'll propose solutions back to us in the RFP, and we'll share them with the organizations that their response pertains to.
So if there's existing fiber there,
They will use it. This project has two parts to it. There's the UFD construction, which is mutually exclusive, and they're going to build their fiber line from New York to Ashburn. The RFP involves right now 23 different broadband providers that can willingly make responses to the 204 organizations. And we know that there's broadband companies that are offering gigabit services in the state of Pennsylvania and in Montgomery County. We believe some of them will see some of the dots on the map and they'll say, boy, we'd always like an opportunity to bid on that project. We're going to make an RFP response to that organization.
We have the Pottstown Business Incubator.
Pottstown Business Incubator. Thank you so much.
Do we have Pottstown Township here? What? Upper.
Pottstown School District.
No. Pottstown Township.
I know we have the library here.
Ridge Support Technology.
Ridge Support.
Valtech?
Same.
Valtech. Okay. Ridge Support Technology.
Video, right?
All right. Any other questions?
What we need on that?
Yes, sir.
You talked about 6 counties, Chester County, I'm from North Coventry Township Manager.
Yes, sir.
Across the river. You didn't mention Chester, but North Coventry Township, East Coventry are part of the Metropolitan Regional Plan for Pottstown.
We'd love to talk with you. I know exactly where you are. I'd love to set up a meeting and come talk to you.
Western Montgomery Career?
We do have some organizations from Chester County that are getting technology action plans. We've not turned any organization away. We did one in Erie. I don't want to drive to Erie, but we did a technology action plan in Erie. We actually did 3 from Maryland. They came up to the Hanover meeting, and we did 3 from Maryland, Mount St. Mary's College.
Wolf Baldwin and Associates? Sir.
Great, thank you.
Agape Precision Manufacturing. Alpine Cyber Solutions.
The Hill School? Who's getting the Hill School?
He'll be back.
I'll be back.
Teaching at Plaza. The Borough of Pottstown.
Mr. Frank, what did I miss?
Just, the RFP response has been very positive, and it looks like we're going to have some numbers to share with everybody by the time our next meeting rolls around.
Traffic planning and design?
The New Jersey project that Delacour just did, all the different aggregations and bids that went out in the state of New Jersey affecting K through 12 had been done in the past. They came forward and
Anybody stand up and has signed up for technology action plans that didn't receive one. That, I think that'll be easier. It just tells who you are.
Pottstown School District.
guys, can you pull them all out? Maybe we can get more hands helping us out. Jim, could you come up?
You just have to keep them in order. Yeah, because there's 4 together. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we kind of, since there's 4 together, we don't have too many here. Warrior Town School District. Warrior Town School District. Lower Pottstown.
Lower?
Lower Pottstown. How about Warrior Town School District?
Seidel and good lunch.
CMIT Solutions.
Foxborough.
Thank you very much.
Daniel Boone School District. Pottstown Business Incubator. You already got yours, didn't you? Pottstown Historical Society. Yeah. That'll be our company.
Okay, I'm sorry, I thought you were
Sidell Planning and Design is not here.
Family Service of Montgomery County. Montgomery County. What happens in the other one?
Yeah, the end, I think.
Okay. So I have an M the library. The library is here. Susan Davis, the library.
St. Al's.
Susan Davis, the library.
St. Al's?
I'm sorry, is there anyone else that signed up for a technology action plan?
Library?
Yeah. There you go, thank you. The IU, correct? And that's it? Okay, let me just check one more.
Range Board School District.
County. Montgomery County. Yes. There you go. Awesome, thank you. Okay.
So I want to thank everyone for coming out today. Like I mentioned, we'll be back on May 16th. If you want to go over anything in the Technology Action Plan, feel free to give myself, John, or Bernadette a call. We'd be pleased to walk through it, talk through some of the maps in the back, talk through some of the pricing that you heard today. We'll also give you updates on the RFP as we move forward. Like I mentioned, April 29th, the RFP results will be due. We'll be pulling them all together, the results, and come back to you on May 16th, and on June 20th, we'll be here for sure. But we will come back and meet with you individually as well. We'll just coordinate meetings. Our goal is to get that information out to you as soon as possible so you can take a look at it and ask a whole bunch of questions. We'll be pleased to facilitate meetings with broadband companies as well. The purpose of the monthly meetings also are going to be, we're going to give updates as the UFD line crosses the Delaware will be a big milestone. And as it comes into each county, and the county meetings, we'll have them there to give updates when they're coming through Pottstown as well. So those will be big milestones for that company and also for our project. Your cooperation and support's been great. Like John mentioned, Montgomery County came out of the gate. You've been very active, the second most active county in the project, with some very large organizations that are very big broadband buyers. So it's extraordinary the level of interest that we've had in the county. We hope to add another 25 to 30% more dots over the next 2 weeks, because we know so many organizations are reaching out already, as we are, to the 500 organizations in each county that didn't respond. The only county that's been even more, Adams County, has been through the roof. I think every major buyer in Adams County came to our first meeting. We had about 70 people in Adams County meeting, representing every buyer that's at 50 meg or more. So again, thank you so much for coming out. John and I will be here to answer any questions. We look forward to seeing you May 16th. The meeting will be at, I think, 10 a.m. at Connections on High Street. Downtown, at Connections on High Street. They have a very nice facility that we're going to use. And then on June 20th, the same time, 10 o'clock, we'll be back here in Pottstown. And definitely looking forward to coming back for the update meetings because we will have RFP results. Thank you so much.